Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're gonna have ourselves a 1v1 on Kholodny Ferma. Our heroes today are going to be Mr. Cruzz, playing as the Soviets in the blue. And his opponent, of course, is going to be Mr. HelpingHans, as it is Hans week. And we continue to watch his climb through that tournament. HelpingHans is going to be playing as the Austere or Wehrmacht faction, of course in the red color, and as we said before, in Kholodny Ferma. Now, this, I believe, was a semi-final, if I'm not mistaken, between these two players, and should be a hell of a match. And spoilers, we're in for a long one, even though you probably know because, well, the video length probably tells it anyways. So let's take a look at what players have been doing. So HelpingHans getting himself tier 1 to start with, nothing out of the ordinary, sending his Pios up to the north, laying down wire as he caps, getting himself an MG on the field, currently heading to the center, and then following it up with Grens and more Grens. Mr. Cruzz, for his part, is getting himself conscripts, and guess what? More conscripts. So again, pretty much standard, nothing too surprising at this point. Sandbags getting laid down in positions while the points get captured. Good all, same all. Nice little utilization of time, I suppose. We see Hans laying down some wire here across the little gap there. Not finishing the wire, but still having the effect regardless, because of course it is a video game. And unfortunately, you know, values just say yes or no. And even though it's not completely built, since it's already stated that it's going to be built there, units can't actually cross it. So, you know, it still works the same. You can target it and, you know, destroy it with small arms fire, but, you know, unless you specifically do that, it isn't gonna work. So, anyways, some more sandbags getting laid down across the place here, as we do hear an engagement going down in the center. MG42 inside the church for Hans, as the conscripts set up in the heavy cover of the truck, trying to fight against that MG. They won't win, and actually one of the guys here is out in the open, which causes the entire squad to get suppressed. So that is unfortunate there for Mr. Cruzz. Grens up in the north, engaging against those conscripts, forcing them to move along and pack their bags. As we see more conscripts getting built for Cruzz. Now, coming up on a bit of a flank, we do have a Grens squad popping out of the house here in the center. Conscripts taking heavy cover by the wreckage of that Stug. And the MG42 in the center has been forced off, as we see conscripts throwing in some Molotovs into the church as we well, of course, see Cruzz getting himself that upgrade. We haven't seen Molotovs used that often, you know, at least not lately. Back in the day, it was all about the Molotovs. Molotov gets tossed into the back as we see the Grens popping out through the front. Forced to retreat, have to run around the house, which is kind of unfortunate for them. However, they will be able to make it out of there alive. Conscripts moving back, getting themselves into a bit of a better cover spot here. Should be able to pop inside the house, get some shots flying at those Grens, and the Grens are essentially flanked there by the conscripts. However, the conscripts inside only able to shoot 3 at a time rather than the entire squad. So the Grens are still able to provide more firepower. Center map, Gren squad running into the conscripts. Conscripts forcing them to retreat. And we see Cruzz building himself a second combat engineer squad, which I am going to assume is being built not only to bolster the numbers, but to build tech. Engineers over here on the left-hand side laying down some mines. We see Hans teching up to tier 1, or battle phase 1, I suppose, which lets him get tier 2, rather, so not really tech in tier 1. And the Grand Squad in the center, down to 1 man, forced to retreat, as of course, even though they did have more men, they were out in the open, they were essentially flanked, that cover wasn't actually doing anything for them, and the conscripts end up, you know, being able to just tear into them. MG42 up in the north, catching that conscript squad as it captures the fuel point, or tries to go for the fuel point. Actually, I don't know what it was doing, because the fuel point is getting decapped right now. Conscripts Ura forward up to the north. They're going to go steal that flamethrower. Nice little pickup there for Cruzz, as that takes away HelpingHans' Pio squad. We didn't actually see it die, but at this point, I don't think it's that important. I'll note it down, and if it was important, I guess you saw it. If not, you know, doesn't matter. But the important thing to note, though, is that, of course, cruzz ended up stealing that flamethrower. So now he has a conscript squad with the flamethrower, which is always badass. HelpingHans started building himself a sniper, decides to cancel that instead in favor of building a pyro squad, which I'm assuming he needs, you know, and wants to have because he wants to tech. So yeah, there you go. Builds the pyro squad, ends up teching to tier 2, and maybe he's going to be getting the sniper later on, but yeah, losing that sniper ended up costing him in that regard because, well, means he doesn't have a sniper at this point. Rifle grenade flying at the combat engineer squad in the center, forcing it to retreat. They don't really take any damage. Back at base, we do not have medics. No, we do have medics. There they are. We have medics for cruzz, which means his troops come out spiffy span and back to full strength. And the combat engineers no, never mind. Those are conscripts. I saw the flamethrower and immediately thought combat engineers. Up in the north are forced to retreat by the Grens, but they make it out of there, which means there's still that on the field. So the other combat engineer squad on the field now going to be building tier 2. cruzz teching up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if he's getting anything from tier 2 or just using it as a stepping stone. I'm assuming he's going to be getting something. Gren squad down south, hitting a mine. Only one man hit it, so, you know. Pretty much the best case scenario outside of, you know, sweeping it or detonating it with a weapon. So with tier 2 now on the field, HelpingHans going to be taking up to tier... damn it. We're going to be taking up or getting himself a 2-2-2. 2-2-2 on the field. Not a lot on the field right now for cruzz to be able to deal with it. He is going to be getting himself tier 3, so he did utilize tier 2 just as a stepping stone to tech up. Safe option, as it does give him the access to the AT gun, which of course is always a good thing to have for the Soviets. And the 2-2-2 moves into the field, starts laying into this house up in the north as the conscript squad holds itself up inside. Autocannon just not really doing much, as it's just hitting like the front of the house there, like impacting more on the ground for some reason. But we do see cruzz, having gotten tier 3, quickly going for a T-70. T-70 a good counter there for the 2-2-2. 2-2-2, able to kill a T-70 if it can catch it, you know, out of position and maybe Faust it and such, but needs to get those penetrations, and that autocannon is quite capable of penetrating the armor, so it's not such an easy kill there. Conscripts maneuvering up in the far north, hiding themselves behind that hedge, keeping themselves on the field, not wanting to retreat. Grens are going to be going for the point, which will reveal it to the conscripts, and the conscripts could move in to engage, which they will. Center map. Conscripts with the flamethrower, making sure that the MG42 doesn't actually put itself in this church, otherwise they are going to burn it out of existence. And because they want to make sure, they have sweepers on that combat engineer squad, just to make sure. Molotov does get tossed up in the north. The Grand squad was long gone. Pyro squad moving up on top of them, and the 2-2-2 is going to chase it down. T-70 moving up, getting a good set of hits there on that Grand squad. Manages to eliminate one on the retreat, which is an excellent pickup there for cruzz. And the T-70 is now going to try to engage that 2-2-2. The 2-2-2, like I said, is capable of penetrating that armor. Not able to kill it very quickly, but it will be able to kill it in the long run, so T-70 needs to be rather careful when engaging it. And the Grand squad is forced off of the house, forced to retreat, as we did have a combat engineer squad with flamethrowers. And the conscripts continue to push forward as they now have access to AT grenades, which means they can easily catch up and cripple that 2-2-2. Which should allow the T-70 to just finish it off. Combat engineers moving up to the north, going to be capturing that fuel point as we have these conscripts capturing that strategic point up top. Conscripts in the center, forced to retreat as we have an MG42 in the center shack. And with a pack on the field for HelpingHans, the T-70 can't just simply go running in and chase down everything that it wants. More mines getting laid down up in the north here for cruzz. Grand Squad down in the south trying to capture territory. So far for cruzz, going pretty well. He's has a lot of territory currently connected. Going to be having both fuels in a little bit, which is always a great spot to be in. Pack gun managing to get a good shot going there on the T-70. The T-70 moving out of the way, getting repairs, and managing to keep itself alive. Conscripts with their flamethrower and even their Molotovs moving up, trying to clear out that MG42. Are unable to do so, however, so they are forced to retreat. And up in the north, conscripts, combat engineers. Everybody's just moving along, and the T-70 moves back up to the north as these combat engineers could actually repair it at the same time. Pack gun moving up with the support of the 222. The T-70 is going to chase it down, get shot in the face by the pack gun, and might actually potentially die here as the pack gun will be able to get a second shot off. Oh, the classical snipe there by the pack gun. Always an unfortunate situation to be up against, but that means that HelpingHans is able to stabilize a little bit in that scenario. He did lose, you know, a Grand Squad, but picking a kill on that T-70 is always a nice little thing for him to have. Kind of want to flip the map again like I've done previously, because cruzz is the player on the left with his troops on the right, and Hans, you know, likewise player on the right with his troops on the left, which is annoying to say the least. You know, if we look at the mini-map, this makes more sense. But of course, looking at the map in this angle is very, very confusing, and I know that people don't like it. So I'm just going to switch it back. We know we can easily make that conversion in our head. It's just going to take a second there every time. So conscripts capturing that strategic point, able to do so quite easily as they do have sandbags laid down in front of them. The 222 does move up and lay into the sandbags, which brings them very close to getting destroyed. And my brain very close to imploding as it needs more oxygen. Mortar on the field for cruzz as he did get his tier 2. Nice little position there for it in that nook. Allows it to shoot decently into the base. Conscripts moving to the center with their flamethrower, only getting caught there by the MG42 and the 222. However, the MG42 is forced away by a conscript squad and a flamethrower combat engineer, which will allow this conscript squad to stave off that suppression and continue to push into the field. More conscripts moving out to the south, and cruzz is just managing to pretty much dominate here the field against HelpingHans. HelpingHans forced to back off. He's got his 222, trying to hold off all this infantry. So even without that T-70, cruzz is able to put a lot of pressure here on Hans as he's just essentially dominating the map right now. Combat engineers up in the north, not capturing points, just sitting around there in the cross section. Panzer Grenadiers moving up forward, helping Hans to capture some territory, trying to connect that fuel, which will give Hans a little bit of income. And we see cruzz selecting his doctrine, and that is, of course, the advanced warfare tactics. Now, I mean, it's a great doctrine, that's fine, no problem. But normally, though, you kind of want to get this one earlier if you get it, simply because it gives you access to the radio intercept. Which, you know, if you already knew you were going to get it, yeah, get it. Obviously, you know, he had some choices and ended up deciding here, which is fine. I mean, he's still going to be getting intel at this point now. And of course, also gets access to the PPSHs, which, does this squad actually get it? It looks like he might have. Yeah. Does it say how many? 3 of the rifles with PPSHs. And yeah, they do. So yeah, that's actually badass. So that conscript squad has 3 PPSHs, and on top of that has the flamethrower. So that is just a infantry killing machine. A lot of things going on. The 222 catching a combat engineer squad out up on the north. Going to be chasing it down and maybe killing it, although it doesn't look like it's interested in chasing it down all the way. So it looks like 2 of them are going to make it out of there alive. We do have a Maxim machine gun hold up inside this church in the center. Getting shots at whatever it can, but basically it's just defending. Conscripts with their PPSHs and the flamethrower. Closing the distance here on that Grand Squad. Grand Squad Trying to throw a rifle grenade, canceling it, throwing it, canceling it, and it forces the conscript squad to retreat eventually, and that saves cruzz. No, sorry, Helping Hands a little bit of munitions. Helping Hands selected this doctrine, and that is the Mechanized Assault Doctrine, which of course allows him to call in the Stuggy. Stuggy shots flying into the church itself taking the brunt of the damage, down to half health. Might be necessary for them to evacuate, and they do. But the Maxim machine gun, it's still at full strength, so shouldn't be that big of an issue.
We are losing a sector.
So a little bit of smoke popped into the center by that mortar. Conscripts down south still managing to hold the ground here. The sandbags are pretty much dead, but they are still there, so they technically still provide that green cover. Should not be able to withstand one more shot by any type of explosive. Whether it be the Stuggy or the other thing, hell, even a mortar shot landed, and that actually ended up being enough, as of course Helping Hands got himself his own mortar to combat that Soviet mortar. And the Stuggy moving around, taking some shots across the hedge, just anticipating or thinking that cruzz might have some troops set up there in that heavy cover. Nothing is there, however, so, you know, from our point of view, it's pointless. But nice little, nice instinct there by Helping Hands, just anticipating or thinking, well, he might have something there, which I can't see, so may as well throw it. Conscript squad, however, pushes his way all the way to the front and gets itself executed there for cruzz, which is quite unfortunate. Thankfully, though, he does still have that badass flamethrower one, so, you know, not too bad. T-34-85 on the field for cruzz, pushing straight as those Panzer Grenadiers do manage to get some damage off on it. The Stuggy is still there, the Pagon also still there, and the T-34-85 does need some repairs. With this doctrine, though, the conscripts are actually able to provide repairs, which should allow the T-34-85 to, you know, make it and stay alive a lot more frequently. However, cruzz, kind of fumbling around in the center, unable to do too much, is forced to move out of the way. Looks like a Grand Squad might have been killed down here. I didn't actually catch that, or at least I'm not sure if I did. But I mean, I don't think it matters too much. Let's give it a look here. And if it mattered, I guess you saw it. Sturmovik assault getting called in right on top of everything up in the north. It's only a strafing run, though, so it's not, you know, loiter kind of ability. And we see Hans again moving into the center, not capturing the point. Just going to be rifle grenading the MG. MG taking a hit, losing one of its men, and forced to retreat. Panzer Grenadiers in the center, managing to dodge a artillery barrage there by the AT gun, getting a Shrek barrage going on that T-34-85. The T-34-85 now severely damaged. Moving back, we see the Stuggy moving up, and even though the Stuggy is not that great at dealing with vehicles, it is able to kill off that T-34-85. The AT gun trying to turn itself around, trying to catch that Stuggy. The Stuggy is hiding behind the house. Not going to be too big of an issue there to destroy, though. We do have an AT gun up on its side, and another one in the front just dancing around. However, the AT gun's fumbling around, unable to really do much here. Stuggy seems to be actually almost managing to get its way out of there, apparently. There we go. AT gun for cruzz, managing to get a good direct hit there on the Stuggy. Stuggy will be falling, but he does actually clear up a mortar. You know, the mortar squad gets cleared out because of it, so again, HelpingHans doing quite a bit of damage there to cruzz as he essentially just becomes a nuisance, but he does take out his T-3045, which is the, well, essentially the mainstay there. We have yet another Stuggy on the field for HelpingHans, which is currently getting repairs back at base. Did have to sacrifice that other one, but you know, shit happens. And we hear the mortars just taking shots randomly into the center of the map. Conscripts in the center retreating as the Panzer Shreks flew at them and threatened to destroy them. AT gun in the center, throwing a barrage at that MG42, trying to clear it off. However, is unable to do much about it, as we see the Panzer Grenadiers moving up and almost clearing out the weapon in its entirety. Stuggy pushing forward for HelpingHans, trying to hold the line there with that MG, the pack gun and the mortars behind it. Up in the north, the 222 still moving around, still being a nuisance. And we do have an MG42. Pretty sure it's an MG42, right? Yeah.
The squad of pioneers has arrived.
So the church collapsing under its own holy weight. Nothing was seemingly inside, so nothing gets crushed there. The AT guns, the mortar, everything just backing off. We even have a Maxim machine gun covering the center road. And a Pio squad on the far left-hand side trying to recover some territory. 222 moving up, trying to support the harassing Pios here. However, we do have a T-3485 nearby. A Shrek barrage does fly there by those Panzer Grenadiers, getting some damage going there on that T-3485, and T-3485 will be forced to back off because unfortunately Shreks are awesome and they do a lot of damage to Soviet tanks. Conscripts up in the north, trying to capture some territory. Did we lose a flamethrower squad or what happened? Please tell me we didn't lose that flamethrower squad. We may have, but is that no? No, from what I can tell, this is squad. It is not. What about this one? Nope. What about this one? I think this one might be it. Although there's a combat engineer squad there with a flamethrower, so no, but there he is. There he is. Okay, so it's this one. It just lost its icon, which is unfortunate, but it still works. So HelpingHans bring himself back into the game here, managing to now control pretty much all the territory. The point in the north is the only thing he doesn't control for the victory points, but that's still a 2-point bleed there by HelpingHans against cruzz. Cruzz ticking up all the way. I mean, he already ticked up, sorry, because he did get that T-3485. There it is. No, there it is. But he's also getting himself now a Katyusha. Katyusha, one of those games that can win you the, I mean, units that can win you the game or do nothing at all. It's very, it has a high variance, to say the least. Conscripts down south, catching that Pio squad very close range. Gunning it down, forcing it to retreat. Combat engineers following up behind it. We do have the conscripts going for the victory point. And Grins nearby with their LMGs going to be setting themselves up in some heavy cover and trying to stop the capping unit. 222 harassing the combat engineer squad in the center. And the mortar trying to do what it can to hit a moving target, which is difficult, to say the least. And the HelpingHans now has access to the Tiger. Does need more manpower and fuel, which is fine. T-3485 trying to chase down that 222. There it goes. Nice little long-range shot there as the T-3485 eliminates that 222. Clears himself a little bit away there as cruzz starts putting the brakes here on Hans.
Our opponents are
Katyusha barrage flying into the center, trying to collapse that house, and it does. Trying to hit whatever is behind that house. The mortar hitting retreat as it does not want to get caught in the barrage. Gets itself caught in the barrage because it ran, but still 3 of them survive. And with only 1 required reinforcement and the healing of the med bunker, that's not too bad. It's just, you know, removing the mortar from the field just a little bit.
The enemy is taking our territory. Assault gun standing by. The enemy has driven a wedge in our lines.
So the Stuggy is just moving around in the center, not doing too much. We see Conscript Squad moving up to the north to recapture some territory. Down south, we have a lot of troops here. The T-3045, Combat Engineers, everything just securing the south. The point far down south is still in control there for HelpingHans. So it'll be there, uncommunicated, but it'll be there. In center map, the conscripts, we have an AT gun covering up in the north. Both AT guns, actually. Maxim machine gun covering the rear of the AT guns. And we have the mortars just set up there on the other side of the hedge, trying to shoot at whatever it can.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
So a bit of a push into the center by cruzz, Panzer Grenadiers, Grands, Mortar, even the Stuggy thrown into the mix, trying to do what they can against all these infantry. Pios down south would have to run through the T-3485, and that's not going to end well for them. And the Combat Engineers in the center are facing down a Stuggy as they try to decap the point. They are just getting gunned down. Katyusha barrage once again getting some good hits there, forcing the retreat of that mortar. And the mortar makes it out of there as the pack gun as well makes it out of there with only 2 men left. And the Stuggy up in the north going to be harassed here by conscripts. Does get AT grenaded, however it is not enough damage to get the crit on the engine. Just superficial damage and keeps it above the threshold. So the engagement naturally is unsuccessful here against the Stuggy and all its other forces, but, you know, Hans now has something in the form of a Tiger. And with that, he actually turns the game around a little bit, as long as he doesn't just sacrifice it like we've seen time and time again in the past casts. Does move the Tiger forward aggressively as soon as it hits the field, trying to do that shock factor essentially and have it have an impact in the battlefield. However, it does run itself straight into an AT gun wall here by the 2 Soviet AT guns, and they are pretty good. They're pretty well balanced, and well, they're able to do significant damage there to the Tiger in only a couple shots, which forces it to back the hell off and get some repairs going. So nothing too dramatic, nothing too drastic is going to happen here with the arrival of the Tiger. It does, however, put Hans in a far better position here, and cruzz now has to figure out how to deal with it. He does have the AT guns in the T-3485 by themselves. All 3, they can take on the Tiger, but, you know, there's more to be had here. A second Katyusha, though, is being built by cruzz. He was building himself an Su-85, seemed like, in response to the Tiger, but then rethought that decision and instead decided to invest into a Katyusha. Katyusha should be able to cripple the infantry and remove a lot of squads potentially. And if he does that, he only has to face vehicles, and I mean, that basically gives him map control in the wind, so we'll see how that pans out. Grand squad moving down south. T-3485 is there. T-3485 will not be able to do a lot against them. Get some shots going. They are forced to retreat. And I don't know why I unscrewed this water when I can just drink from it. There you go. So the Grens there were trying to throw a rifle grenade off to maybe hit either the mortar squad or maybe the Katyusha as it was shooting there. But they were unable to finish the animation as they were forced to retreat by the T-3485. Center map, the Tiger, the Stuggy, everybody backing off as we see a flood of infantry into the center. Katyusha barrage is just flying, trying to do as best as they can to, well, to hit something. And they seem to be hitting far up in the north. We see a MG42 taking a massive hit down to one man, sliver of health, but is still able to run away and make it out of there. See a strafing run into the center. Not actually hitting anything, unfortunately. Ow, ow. Stupid chair. There we go. And the combat engineers coming up on the flank, trying to see if they can clear some stuff. Pilot squad with their sweeper moving up. If they engage in melee, it's going to hit with the sweeper, but that's not going to happen. And we see the flamethrower getting dropped. This Pio squad can actually pick it up and become a super multi-purpose Pio squad. That is amazing. Sweeper and flamethrower at the same time. What else do you want? Jeez. Maybe a bazooka or something. Anyways. So cruzz. A bit of a mistake there. I mean, not too much. It's just the combat engineer squad. It's not that important. However, if he wants to be able to keep the T-34-85 at full strength, you know, a lot easier, well, it would have been important. Anyways, big flood here of infantry in the center here for cruzz. Gonna be setting up the Katyushas to fire at something. See a light artillery barrage getting called in right on top of that AT gun. However, the AT gun is able to push through and crawl its way out of there. Tiger has taken some damage, has lost its engine, or at least has its engine damaged. The T-34-85 moving up, trying to do as best it can to get some shots going. Ends up shooting at the Panzer Grenadiers, which is fine. I mean, it ends up having to get some smoke popped in front of it, just to break line of sight and get it out of there. But the Tiger and everything else is just currently moving back as the Katyusha barrages continue to fly and hit with disregard of if anything being there. Pack gun, though, does manage to get a good angle there on the T-34-85, and with the Tiger there and another pack gun, well, it goes up in a ball of flame. One of the Katyushas also ends up dying. Looks like it's the one down here. Not sure what killed it. Let me see if I can spot that. Okay, at 32. So yeah, the Katyusha died, but I'm not entirely sure what killed it. So hopefully we can catch that on the video, and well, on the pickup for the picture-in-picture, and you saw it. So there you go. Strafing run getting called in on top of all that infantry. They move out of the way as they see the smoke, and are able to just simply dodge it without much of an issue.
Our assault grenadiers await your order to deploy, Commander.
9-9. So cruzz taking quite a bit of damage here. He has been brought down to 55 in the pop cap. Is building himself an Su-85, however, so that should provide him a big boost in the anti-tank capabilities. Has a lot more range, but still, you know, losing that T-34 is quite painful. Mortar set up behind the hedge. The Tiger just annihilating this conscript squad in one shot. Gonna get a second shot going at it, but they managed to round the bend and keep themselves alive. Maxim machine gun also forced to retreat as we see that wire laid down there. Doesn't allow them to push past that and get a better angle. And we see more infantry in the center here for cruzz, just pushing straight into the center. So victory points 257 to 261. Pretty goddamn even. It's about to be, well, actually right now it's bleeding for cruzz, so yeah, Hans has taken the lead, so, I mean, he did have the lead, but still, you know what I mean. Assault grants over on the right-hand side, running into two conscripts with PPSHs and a flamethrower, so even though they have those SMGs, and they feel pretty badass at close range, well, so do they, so it doesn't work. So the Stuggy takes a shot, misses, nothing happens. There you go. Katyusha barrage flies. Seems like it's going up to the north. Gonna be trying to hit that MG42. Going a little bit high. Oh, that's a nice little stray shot. Nailing that MG42. Second shot almost landing on top of it, but it had moved out of the way. Combat engineers, conscripts trying to hide behind that shack. Basically breaking line of sight with the Tiger. And the Su-85 is on the field, but just sitting a little bit further back. Not exposing itself, which I suppose is okay. Wouldn't have been able to kill that Tiger with it, so. Far down south, Pio squad with sweepers going to be catching that mine and clearing, capturing the point and bleeding here, but anyways. So the Sturmovik attack getting called in right on top of the point. The Pio squad retreats before anything hits. And the stray front just fizzles out as it shoots ground without any clear target. Up in the north we hear an engagement. MG42 managing to pin down conscript squads. 3 of them essentially. As a Pio squad is used as the shock troop there and gets on top of them with their SMGs. So the Tiger's still moving back. We do have that Stuggy still on the field now with Veteran C2 and Sexy Skirts. And the 222 is now back on the field. With Helping Hands, so he wants to have that armored car, scout car just moving around, being a lot more mobile than his tanks and harassing what it can. So Mortar taking some shots. Mortar has gotten 4 kills in total only, but Veteran C2 acquired as it has done some damage, it seems. Conscripts moving up to the north. 222 is behind them. MG42 going to be catching them out in the open. Combat engineer squad down south trying what it can. Katyusha barrage into the center. Almost clears out that MG42. Here, a light artillery barrage getting called in by Helping Hands right on top of that Maxim machine gun. Maxim machine gun's chopping carts just moving out of the way and repositioned. 222, however, does move in behind the Katyusha. Manages to execute it quite summarily. And a nice move there by Helping Hands as he can lose his 222 and he's not really going to care that much. Yep. So he loses the 222, but in the process also kills off a Katyusha, and trading a 222 for a Katyusha is always a good trade. So another T-70 on the field for Cruzz. Moving around. Not doing too much. Victory points 178 to 261. Still in the lead for Hans. Almost a 100-point lead at this stage. And we see a lot of troop movement just going around and so Cruzz utilizing his conscript squad to merge with the weapons teams, making sure that they are kept on the field. T-70 moving around to harass. Gonna be trying to bait or get something out of this Stug. Turns itself around, moves to the south, coming and catching the Pios, and the Pios is taking the brunt of the damage. Takes another shot there by something. I don't know what the hell that was. Looked like a tank shot, but there's no tank there. Oops, sorry. So a third Katyusha on the field for Mr. Cruzz. Helping Hands built himself 2 222s. So 444s. And yeah. Sets one up once again up in the north. Just waiting for the signal, waiting to be told, yep, there's another Katyusha on the field. Just go harass it. Get on her ass. Because, I mean, let's see. 360 and 85 fuel every time it dies, whereas Helping Hands can just simply get 15 fuel 210. So, yeah, I mean, sacrificing it just to get one is always worth it.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Defiantly. So here they come. They're going back for another rush. They're going to get close to the base, trying to get themselves behind the lines and surprise the Katyusha. We do have 2 conscript squads in the way, ready and wait, trying to make sure that the 222s don't get there, but the autocannon shots fly. Katyusha goes down, and I mean, HelpingHans is just hurting him so much by doing this. It's literally painful to watch. Su-85 trying to turn itself around in time to catch a 222. The 222 trying to move out of the way. Gonna probably be playing here, ring around the hedge. As we do have a Maxim machine gun. Maxim machine gun able to do damage here to the 222, and it looks like it's gonna die. I don't think it's gonna make it out of there. Nope. Gets barraged, down goes, and that was that. Tiger takes some damage, gets engine damage, and is forced to crawl back out. Panzer Grenadiers up north trying to catch something. They're going to catch bullets to the face here by these squads if they don't get the hell out of the way, which they do.
Pioneers ready for assignment.
And we see cruzz repositioning all his troops and trying to get himself in a better spot. We do have some Maxims and some... Ooh, a flamethrower dropped there on the world. That's a nice thing to try and pick up. Conscript squad could actually go for that flamethrower. They are running around trying to capture the point as cruzz is getting a little bit desperate there on those points. He still has more than 100, but only 150 essentially, and he is losing by 100 against Hans. So, you know, Hans can afford a little bit of time here in this double cap. So, there we go. Pilot squad picking up the flamethrower, and with the sweeper is able to have both at the same time once again. T-34 76, huh, interesting. So not spending the fuel to get himself a higher tank, just utilizing this. And the Tiger's still getting repaired up in the north, as we do see a second pilot squad being utilized for the repairs, and the one that retreated is currently back at the base. Stuggy, 22 kills so far, doing amazing. Veteran C2 acquired, and Veteran C3 about to pop. Su-85 moves up, takes a shot at the Stuggy, but the Stuggy manages to dodge. That is a shot flies across its face, but does not impact. Down south, T-70 harassing the assault Gren squad. We do have T-3485 going to be running straight into all the infantry. However, it is unable to crush any of them, apparently. The Panzer Grenadiers trying as best they can here to deal damage to T-3485. They managed to do so, but they are forced to retreat there by the conscripts. A nice shot that flew there. So center map, it looks like a conscript squad may have actually killed itself. Let's see if I can catch that. 43. And the Tiger and the Stug up in the north. Victory points 135 to 255, still in the lead for Hans. Hans is actually still bleeding cruzz, as cruzz does not have a single point. Is utilizing his T-70 to cap down south, as it has acquired Veteran C1. So that will happen, but the center point is decapped. And the bleed's still happening. Point does get capped though, so... Conscript squad retreating, going to be having to run straight through the back of that Tiger. The Tiger trying to move back to maybe crush them, but it doesn't work in retreat, so... is unable to do so, and it just puts itself back into the center. We do have 3 AT guns on the field for cruzz, as he stole a pack gun at one point. Oof, nasty shot there on the mortar by the Stuggy, bringing it down to 2 men and forcing it to retreat. Well, actually, it doesn't even retreat. It's still there on the field. Probably going to get merged, I would assume. And the Tiger moving down south on the left-hand side, forcing in a Maxim machine gun to get the hell out of the way. Conscripts moving through the center, realizing, oh wait, this hedge is broken, so they can actually see us. Are forced to retreat as they get shot on. The AT gun, or the Su-85 over here on the center map, gets a shot off on the Tiger, doing a little bit of damage, but that's about it. Nothing too big, nothing too serious. Tiger is quite fine. And up in the north, we do have the conscript squad just moving around, trying to cap what it can. HelpingHans pushing aggressively here with the Tiger in the south. Does have some troops here to support it. Assault Grunts are forced to retreat. The MG42 getting some shots off on the T70, but that is about it. And Grunt Squad behind it trying to provide some support as we see a Faust going off. Was it a Faust? Actually, don't know what the hell it was, but something did a lot of damage here, this T-3485. Burning it down to a sliver of health and with a missing weapon. Gonna need some repairs going on it for a while. T-70 down south, though, does get caught by the Tiger. Tiger easily handles it. And there it goes. Su-85 does take a shot at the Tiger, but eventually ends up just missing. And up in the north, the Stuggy and a pilot squad is going to be harassing these conscripts. Victory points once again, 1-1-1, so nobody bleeds. The game goes on, 113 points left for Cruz. Still 255 for Hans, so like I said, still has a 100-point lead and more now, which is great. So, pack gun getting cleared out. Right there in the center, we have a Maxim machine gun and a conscript squad. Conscript squad did get pinned down. The conscripts, I mean the MG in the center, trying what it can against these conscripts and may be able to destroy them, but you know they oof, yeah, they should get out of there, and they do. So one man and they stay alive. Tiger still dancing around down south. We'd see once again Cruz now on the bad end of a triple cap. Oof, this might actually be game. We do see in the center point, Maxim machine gun trying to go for the cap of the point. Might be able to decap it, but again, that's a triple cap. It's going to be a double cap after that, so it's going to be bleeding 2. And then he can start bleeding 1, but with only 1 point and less than 100, that is not a lot of time. It does buy him a little bit more time than otherwise, but not a lot. Pilot squad actually running themselves straight into the center, going to be disconnecting or not allowing the capture of the point in the center. Maxim machine gun is forced to retreat. The Su-85 goes down. We do have a T-34-76 trying to flank the Tiger, but runs itself straight into another pack gun. Shots fly. Down goes the T-34-76. And Hans just managing to wreck here in the center. Gets the game, and Cruz throws in the towel. Very nice. Very cool-headed there for Hans. He was kind of behind there for a little while and manages to bring it back to a close and thus moving along in that tournament. So anyways, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replay you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.